Azure virtual machines. So as part of this topic, I will be covering what are virtual machine images and sizes, VM storage, creating and connecting to VM, availability set, fault domain, and update domain, VMSS, virtual machine scale set. So the important one here is that you should be able to understand what are availability set, fault domains, and update domain. And I think creating and connecting VM we have already seen before, but still I will try to cover that in a very high level. Okay. The first one is virtual machine images. Azure offers several predefined image aliases to make the resource creation process easier. So there are several images which are already created and they are available in Azure Marketplace. From there, you can directly use them. Some of them are like, here I have listed in the diagram. I have taken this from Azure Learn. Okay, so these are the Linux images which are already available, like a Debian 11, OpenSUSE, RHEL, SLES, Ubuntu. And similarly for the Windows images, here are some of them. Windows 2022, 2019 data center, 2016 data center. These are some which we already used. So these images are already available. You just need to choose which image you want to which image you want to use for your VM. Just select and use it.
Okay.
So there are different VM sizes. Here are some of the families. So when you are creating VM, it will ask you to which SKU or you want to choose. The SKU is nothing but the storage keeping unit where you will have specs of the VM, like the memory you want to choose, the memory you want to, like the cores you want to use, the storage, and the different Azure features or additional features it has. All these things you can choose from the size. Okay, the families available are A family, B, D, and DC family. A is for the entry level economical, B a bustable, D enterprise grade application, relational databases, in-memory caching, data analytics. D family is something which we widely use in most of the organization. We use this D family, and DC family is the other one. D family with the confidential computing. So one of these we can choose and use depending on the requirement. So the name will look something like this when you choose a SKU name. D, it starts with D. D is the family name. Then C is like subfamily, you will see. And the number of cores with CPU count, feature one CPU info, local storage. This one is premium storage. Then there will be a space. Then there is a version. This is nothing but a name um, like this, the series list. So DASV7. So something like that you can select. So each letter has um, its its own credibility. Okay, so from that you should be able to understand what it is. So like the first one is like family and so on. You don't have to remember or by heart all these things. When you are creating VM, you can use easily, go and check and select. But you should be able to understand what are these. Uh,
Okay.
so that should be enough. Next is the VM storage. So VM storage. So when you create virtual machine, by default there will be OS disk, which is called from Azure's blob storage. Apart from that OS disk, you can add a temporary disk if you need additional storage. But what happens with the temporary disk if you are restarting or rebooting anything, rebooting the VM, then what happens? So the data you have stored in this temporary disk will be gone. So no, you cannot um, retain them. But whereas the data disks are something you can add as a additional disks to the VM, and whatever the data you are storing here in this data disks, you can persist them. You can again use them. Like even after reboot, you will be able to use that data. The data disk will get attached back to the virtual machines, and you will be able to access them. The
Got it.
performance, yeah. So the performance tiers, choose a disk tier. You can choose different performance tiers. And in the storage also, we have a hard disk and SSD, solid state drives. This option is there. We need to consider cost and also IOPS, input outputs per second. The disk can give us when you select. And we choose a premium for intensive apps, the P1 apps or P2 apps. We choose the premium storage, like SSD is one of the premium one.
Okay.
Yeah. So management. So when it comes to the management, um, so if you choose the managed, then what happens? Azure will manage your disk. If you choose unmanaged, you have to manage this disk by yourself, like operating system, disk, or data disk, the speed, IOPS, and everything, right? That it can be a managed or unmanaged. It depends on what you choose. Uh,
Okay.
Microsoft recommends to choose the managed. That means they will only manage that. But if you choose unmanaged, then it will be a overburden to the administrator. And connecting to the virtual machines. So here, so generally we all use two types of operating system. One is a Windows, another is Linux. So Windows will use the RDP protocol, and port is 3389, and it uses WinRM, TCP port 5986 for doing the script. PowerShell uses WinRM actually. That protocol it uses, and these ports are open when you create this operating system. Authentication method is password based and certificates. In Linux, it uses port SS22 TCP, and it uses SSH. And you can use the password or the keys which we generate when we create the Linux operating system.
Okay.
Connecting to virtual machine, we have already seen how we can connect using Bastion. We enable the Bastion over the VNet. Then we can connect to all the VMs inside that virtual network. The other way is the public IP. You can assign a public IP to the virtual machine and directly connect to that public IP, and you will be able to access the virtual machine. The next way is Gembox. You can assign a public IP to one of your virtual machines, which is in this VNet. Then RDP into the other VMs which are there within that VNet. So this is these three are there when you are trying to connect the virtual machines. The Azure recommends to use the Azure Bastion because it is more secure way, and the management and everything will be taken care by them. And even in Jumpbox, if you create, right, what happens? You have to manage it. I mean, that is a
Yes.
management overburden. Uh, so out of these all, Azure recommends users to use Azure Bastion. They say it is more secure when compared to the other two options.
Got it.
Okay, now let's see what is the availability set. Availability set is a logical grouping of virtual machines to reduce simultaneous failures. Ensures high availability by spreading VMs across fault and update domain. I will explain you this part, the second line. So I have a next slide where I have a diagram. What is a fault domain? What is update domain? And all we will see. Always, and the third point is it's when you are managing this availability set, it is recommended to create a minimum two VMs. Okay, the maximum is up to us, and helps. So when you are when you are using availability set, it will help us to meet 99.95% of Azure SLA. And there won't be any extra cost for using availability sets. You have to pay only for the VMs. Protects apps and hardware or maintenance outages. Okay, this is how the availability set would look like. In availability set, what happens if, for example, let's take there are five VMs inside a availability set. Five VMs will be of same. size, CPUs, and everything will be same. They are like a mirror of each one. So you have deployed your application into these five VMs. One is sitting. So these are racks. These are racks. The first rack, second rack, third rack. Okay, it is sitting in the first blade. These are blades. This is rack. Two, three are rack. The first one is blade, second blade, third blade, fourth, fifth. You know blades, right? Uh,
Yeah.
yeah. So these are like blades. In data centers, there will be a cluster, Azure data center. Like each cluster will have like multiple blades. Uh, so in a single cluster. So I was part of Wabo team, if I have mentioned before, Windows Azure build out team in 2013 when I moved out of HCL. Right,
Mm-hmm.
you were there.
Yeah.
I joined Mindtree, so I was part of Wabo. And Mindtree is the vendor for Microsoft. And during those days, like in 2013, they were building this data center. So I was one among those who has built this data centers in Florida region, I believe. So, so how it looks like is they we build the clusters. So each cluster will have a 20 racks. Here we can see three racks, right? There will be a
Yes.
20 racks in a single cluster, and one cluster will have 20 blades. This is a single cluster. You can see six blades here, but actually there will be a 20 blades. 20 blades, and each blade will have the MOS. That means maintenance operating system installed on it. On maintenance operating system, they will create VMs. Here, this availability set VM is sitting on MOS, maintenance operating system. Okay, so each VM is sitting on that maintenance operating system. Like this MOS will have this ESX also. ESX, VMware ESX, right? So that,
Yes.
yeah, that will be there. On top, VMs will be created. So what happens, like in a single cluster, it's like suppose five VMs I can deploy in a single blade. There are 20 blades here. 5 into 20 is 100, right?
All right. Yeah.
In a single rack, I can deploy 100 VMs. So this rack will have a TOR on top. TOR is nothing but a switch, top of the rack. These all blades are connected to the top of the rack, and they in the bottom there will be a PDU, power distribution unit. So this is how one rack will look like. Okay.
Got
And,
it.
and there will be a 20 racks like this. Okay. Those all together called a single cluster.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. When I deploy this availability set, they all come and sit in a single cluster. Any of the rack out of those 20 racks, uh, it can sit in any of the rack, but it will choose only three racks. Each availability set can have up to three fault domains, 20 update domains. So each rack take it as a fault domain. Okay. Why I call
Okay.
this as a fault domain, I will explain you. So they are sitting in three racks. Okay. And 20 update domains. Any of the 20 blades, it will sit. Okay. So this single cluster can accommodate how many VMs? 100 in single rack, 20 racks, 100 into 20 is like 2000 VMs it can accommodate, right?
Yeah.
So these clusters also they are like different clusters. One will be a compute cluster where the VMs will can be deployed. The other one is a storage cluster. Only the JBods will be there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and the third type is a database cluster. So where only the database which you are creating, they go and if you create a SQL database or any Postgres or anything, they will be created there. So, so that's how the data center of Azure will be like. Coming back to this compute cluster and fault domain and update domain. So you have created five VMs right now as part of virtual machine scale set. So virtual machine scale set we have not gone, but availability set you have the five VMs which are of the same size and all. What is happening? One is sitting in the first blade. And the second VM is sitting in the second blade and third blade. Fourth VM is sitting in this fourth blade and fifth blade. So now what is happening? This fault domain, right? This rack has this top of the rack. Some issue is there, and the data center engineer has come and he want to replace the uh, switch top of the rack.
Mm.
What happens? This goes down, right?
Yes.
So there is a hardware failure. So fault domain is going down. Still, I am able to access my application from these two VMs and these two VMs, which are in a different racks. Okay. And what is this update domain? You understand fault domain, right?
Yes.
If
So
there is a
something like one is down, it's running on the different one, so it will automatically update it. Is that mean the update domain? Just wild guess.
update domain is, if there are updates, like what happens, these are racks which are in the same cluster, right? Like 20 clusters I have told. What happens?
Mm-hmm.
The first blade, this is the first blade, this is the first blade. So this there is a MOS, right? Maintenance operating system, ESX and everything. So there will be like monthly updates happening, right?
Yes.
Microsoft updates or anything. So how they run is they run on a schedule. They run a particular time. So all the first blades, first blade in this rack one, first blade in this rack one, first blade in this rack one. What happens? They go down at the same time. The first blade will go down at the same time in fault domain 0, fault domain 1, fault domain 2. They all go down at one go. That when there are updates happening, they go down. They go into the maintenance mode. Okay, so this has gone down. This has gone down. This has gone down. Now that the first row has gone down, what does that mean? Domain 0 has gone down, but still I am able to access my application from domain 1, domain 2, domain 3, domain 4. First row, once the updates are done, they go to the second row, then the third row. That's how the Microsoft has designed its updates in their racks, in their cluster. Did I confuse you?
No, 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 no. I got your point.
Yeah, so this is how it works. Now that I was part of that team, so I have a little more knowledge on how these fault domains and update domains work. And even if there is any issue, right, what happens? There is a team, WADE team, Windows Azure Deployment Engineering team, they call it. What they do, if there is some issue, like this blade has some issue, it's not connecting, and there will be hardware failures, right? What they do,
Yes.
they try to connect to the Cisco router which is there top of the rack. From there they will try to connect to this particular blade and try to check what is the issue there. In that scenario also, they keep this particular blade into the maintenance mode. Once I keep my blade into the maintenance mode, what happens? My update domain or the VM which is hosted on this blade has gone down, right? So
Yes.
that means still I am able to access my application from the um, other VMs which are hosted.
Other-
Yeah,
Yeah. Like its other instance can be accessed, so that way there won't be any problem.
yeah. So here there are two things. One is a hardware failure and other one is a updates. Okay. So generally these are scheduled one, okay, which go row by row. So that scenario it goes down.
Got it.
Okay. And each availability set can have up to 3 fault domains and 20 update domains. So each availability set will have the 3 update fault domains and max to max up to 20 update domains.
Update of it. Okay.
Azure Virtual Machine Scale Set um, is Azure recommends that customers choose virtual machine scale set with flexible orchestration mode for high availability with the widest range of features. Virtual machine skill sets will allow VM instances to be centrally managed, configured, and updated, automatically increase or decrease the number of VM instances in response to demand or a defined schedule. So Azure actually recommends their customer to use the virtual machine scale set. So if you are using, if you want high availability, they suggest you to use the virtual machine scale set instead of creating individual VMs and putting them in availability set. They suggest to use the VMSS. VMSS by default uses fault domain and update domain in the background. So there will be high availability for this.
Okay.
So what happens when you create, when you are hosting application? So all the organization, enterprise applications, everything, they are hosted either on app services or Kubernetes, right? So there is one um, similar resource, I will say similar to Kubernetes from Azure, that is called Azure Service Fabric Cluster. Okay, I have been using that. Azure Service Fabric Cluster works similar to Kubernetes, but that is a Microsoft proprietary. They have developed it, but most of them use Kubernetes. Even we moved from Azure Service Fabric Cluster to Kubernetes. Either this Azure Service Fabric Cluster or Kubernetes in the backend, they have VMSS, virtual machine scale set. So those are not
Okay.
visible, but when you are hosting this Kubernetes or Service Fabric cluster, they use the VMSS in the background. They deploy these microservices and everything in the VMSS. And Kubernetes will maintain this VMSS. If I am deploying 50 microservices, by default, a single VM can host 30 microservices. The 31st, when you are deploying, right, what happens? The Kubernetes, it will create new instance, the second VM, like that.
Okay.
So basically, in the background, there will be a VMSS. I have three instances in VMSS. Um, and so what we were doing, Kubernetes, right? We were using Kubernetes, and I was using all non-prod environments in that in a single Kubernetes. Dev,
Okay.
test, and stage. We used to deploy everything in a single Kubernetes, one Kubernetes for all environments. So like that, one application will have like 8 microservices for us. So once I deploy um, three environments, it's like 24 for a single client. We used to have 110 clients. So some of them wanted a shared model. They don't want a separate one. They want to use the shared model. So that was one of the offering. So if even if 10 clients want to use the shared model, so single environment, 8 microservices, three environments, it's like 24 microservices, and into 10 clients, right? 240 microservices. So how many VMs you want? 30 microservices in a single VM. 240 is like 8 VMs we need. So we do the deployment, we delete the environment, everything is like will be happening. So the VMSS is like it will be scaling up, scaling down, all these things will be happening. So that's how it works when there are more clients. Are you getting me?
Yeah.
And this is just one example how this, where do we use this virtual machine skill set. Um, okay, anyhow, we covered this Kubernetes part in detail when I take up the Kubernetes session. So this is one example where we have the VM machine scale set. On the front, we have this application gateway. The public internet is it. The application gateway is exposed to the public internet. The customer is trying to access his application, and it is passing through the public IP of a application gateway, going through this and accessing the application from here, virtual machines. one of the virtual machines in virtual machine skill set, then reverting back with the request.
Yeah.
Okay. And labs, virtual machine, we have already seen how to create, right? Just I will quickly show. We have this resource group we'll create, then virtual machine name, say dev app, VM1, East US, availability zone. You can use availability set. So once you select availability set, it will ask us to create the availability set name. Click on click on this. Okay, name I will say AV100. So it says so as I said, you can choose 3 fault domains, 20 update domains. So you can choose any of that, how many update domains you want. So this will actually decide how many instances you can scale up. Okay, like I choose 3 and 6. How many I can accommodate? 3 into 6, 18. 18 VMs I can create. I can go max to 3 and 20. That is a 3 into 20, 60. 60 VMs I can create. Okay, and I will click OK. So this is just part of that availability set. VMSS has a different uh, capacity. I read that it can go up to 1,000 instances also. This is a simple
Yeah.
availability set. Mm, this is standard password. I will say admin. You can give the password. So basically, I just want to show by attaching the public IP to this. Here you get a chance to add data disks. Okay, and it says a LUN, the logic unit number and name, size, and everything. You can attach here, create and attach. So as we discussed during the storage, right? VM storage. These data disks are used when you want to persist your data. You want to save your data and reuse it. So even after reboot or anything, you still be able to connect these data disks to either this VM or to any VM and start accessing that data. That you can do. Networking VNet, we can choose any of that. And where is this public IP? Maybe here, yeah, public IP. So we can create, all these days we were choosing none. So you can use this VM1 IP. And once you create, it will assign a public IP to this, and directly you can RDP to that or SSH into that. I'm not going in detail about this because we have already covered this before a lot of times, right? Do you want me
Yeah.
to create a VM and connect?
No, no, no. No, we're good. On the creation of VMs, we're good. So we did couple times, right?
Yeah, we'll see this virtual machine scale set. I just went ahead and created one just a while back. Even this virtual machine scale set has a similar features. I mean, similar wizard.
Okay. Similar wizard as how we deploy a virtual machine.
Yes, yeah, virtual machine. And you just go ahead and give the ID, password, and everything. And Spot is some option I am able to see. So save money with Spot, get unused Azure capacity at a discounted rate with Azure Spot. It's great for workloads that can tolerate interruption, downtime uh, when capacity is needed elsewhere. So this is one option where you can save uh, money. Disks and everything are same. Okay, so once you go ahead and create, the VMSS will look something like this. I have already created.
Okay.
So here it gives one option, scale in and scale out. So how you can scale. See,
Okay. How
as
many
I said,
instances you want to do? Yeah.
yeah, it can go up to 1,000. See, these many instances you can create. It can create in the background for VMSS. Okay, as we have seen in this custom auto scale, right? Scale up and scale down. We can add using metrics instance, basic scale based on metrics, then add a scale condition. This will allow us in specific time to increase the number of instances. And the other one is based on metrics where is that?
Able, right.
CPU utilization and all it will show. Mm. This is instance count. This I need metrics. Okay, click on add rule. So here we can, you know, add the
Change the
CPU
okay.
utilization more than 70%. You can increase the number of instances greater than scale 70%. You can increase the number of instances. You can put the instances increase by count. Like 5 I want to increase, and after 5 minutes it will scale down back if it is below 70. So these kind of scaling rules we can add, which I think we have already covered this in app services, right? The similar one we can add here: scale up, scale down, scale in, scale out. S- You remember scale in, scale out, scale up, scale down, which we covered
Yes,
in
yes.
app service. So the same
Yeah.
thing we can do on this. So this is how the VMs and VMSs can be used. The takeaway is that I'm going a little fast on this because we have covered a couple of times on this. I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure
yeah.
that you are very good at it.
Yes.
Maybe
That's why even I'm, yeah.
yeah, and we have created VMs before also, right? Uh, this topic you may not be aware, so just wanted to cover this fault domain update domain in detail. Do
Yeah,
you have
I
a,
never heard it. Yeah. This is the first time I'm hearing about them.
yeah, there will be interview questions on this also. What they will ask you, what is a fault domain and update domain? Um, so how it works, what are the advantages? All these things they will ask questions on this. When it comes to virtual machines and all, they definitely ask this question.
Okay.
Yeah, any questions on this slide, fault domain, update domain? I would be happy to explain you in detail if you have any questions on this. Are you clear?
No. I think I understood the scenario. Maybe I need to study more to have questions for me. So because it was a new topic to me, right? So I just understood what you explained, how it works, and what all the stuff.
Yeah. Okay, Amar, that's all for the day. Tomorrow we'll start with Azure Microsoft Entra, um, the Azure Active Directory. They call it Microsoft Entra. So Monday it will be a Sunday evening, right? So that's the reason I'm not taking sessions on Monday morning here. Your Sunday night.
Okay. Okay.
The next session will be on Tuesday then.
Okay. That's fine.
Okay, Amar. Yeah. Mm, if there are no questions, we can wind up for the day.
Yeah, sure.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good
Thank you.
day.
You too. Bye.